welcome back to the most professional sports channel on YouTube. Welcome back to Swivel Chair Sports. I'm your host, Zach Zuckerberg Merkel, here riding solo this week because all the other guys are doing other stuff. So, please make sure to like and subscribe. But other than that, let's go ahead and get into it. So, in this video, we'll be taking a look at the upcoming game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions taking place this Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central. So, the Rams, obviously, quarterbacked by Matthew Stafford, who will be making his return to the Detroit Lions in what will be their first playoff game. Since I think Matt Stafford was quarterback, I think he... Excuse me. And what will be, I think, their first playoff game since Matt Stafford was quarterback? I think they made the playoffs with Matt Stafford at least once, right? Matt Stafford, playoffs, Lions. This will probably just give me... Did Matt Stafford go to the playoffs with the Lions? He led them to the playoffs 3 times. So yeah, in the first playoff game since Matt Stafford was their quarterback, they will be playing against Matt Stafford. So that's fun. Super, super fun. But what's more fun is these teams are super evenly matched. And not to mention Jared Goff, quarterback for the Detroit Lions, also playing against his former team, the Los Angeles Rams. If you didn't know, the two were traded for each other. Okay, guys? So, I did not want to make Jared Goff feel bad. I wanted to include him too. So, yeah, Matt Stafford, Jared Goff, Lions, Rams. Real evenly matched game. According to Vegas, from the looks of it, or at least ESPN Bet, I should say, the Detroit Lions are a 3-point favorite, which you would assume, since they're the home team, is really just the home edge. So, basically what they're saying is that these two teams are neck and neck, you know? I think the Rams' record might look a little bit prettier if Matt Stafford didn't get hurt earlier this season. He's started to get it going, started to get that offense going. But not only him, Kyron Williams, the running back, been just tearing it up recently. I know every time I watch, I feel like Kyron Williams is just breaking away with like a 20-plus yard run. So that dude is incredible. You got Puka Nacua, who, because C.J. Stroud exists, is not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. No, that's by league, isn't it? So I guess he'll win NFC Offensive Rookie of the Year if that's a thing. And then Stroud will win AFC. But if it's just the NFL, I don't know how. I can't remember how their awards work. But Puka Nacua, one of the best offensive players this year, top 2. He is too. But breaking the single season rookie receiving record, so that's incredible. You got Cooper Kupp back. I believe Tyler Higbee's still a tight end. So that Rams offense is not short of players that can get it going offensively. And then you got the defense too, led by Aaron Donald. So that's obviously he's obviously a force to be reckoned with just himself. But then you got the rest of that team as well behind him. So it's going to be a really tough game for the Lions, I think, both offensively and defensively. Obviously, the Detroit Lions have a pretty bad defense, to say the least. So it's very possible Matt Stafford and that Rams team will walk right into Detroit and just slice and dice all up and down that Detroit Lions defense and end up just running away with it. But I hope it ends up being a close game. I think for Detroit, you gotta hope they can kind of keep up with the Rams. I think that's inevitably what it's going to be, is the Rams are going to end up being able to score regardless, because Detroit's just not very good at keeping teams from doing that. So I think it's really going to come down to, can Jared Goff limit his mistakes? Obviously, he's kind of turnover prone, throws a lot of interceptions, but when he doesn't throw interceptions, he's a really good quarterback. It's just going to really come down to, will he be able to keep pace with the Rams without throwing 2 or 3 picks? Because he's been known to do that in the past, both in a Lions uniform, but also in a Rams uniform. So it'd be cool if you see Amon-Ra St. Brown getting going. You hope Jahmyr Gibbs gets going. Um, Unfortunately, I think Sam Laporta is out this game. He got injured in week 18, so that stinks. He was going to be a huge part of that offense, obviously. So you got to kind of account for that. And then on the defensive side, they've got a pretty young secondary, if I'm not mistaken. And as far as their front seven goes, I don't think they've been very good at stopping the run recently, if not this entire season. So you got to kind of expect the Rams to lead with Kyren Williams. He's kind of on a hot streak. The Lions' defense isn't very good at stopping the run. I expect to see a lot of Kyren Williams early in the game. But if it is tight down the stretch, I think they will obviously put it primarily in Matt Stafford's hands. Not saying Matt Stafford isn't going to get a lot of opportunities in the first half. I expect him to throw probably around 30 passes this game, if it ends up being close. But if the Rams kind of start running away with it early, obviously they're just going to keep feeding their running backs the ball in order to keep the clock running. And if that's the case, he's probably going to be more like 20 to 25. So I do, if you couldn't tell by the way I'm talking, expect the Rams to win this game. My motto this week is experience is going to win out. And the Rams have a boatload of experience. They just won the Super Bowl not too long ago, I believe 2 seasons ago. You got Matt Stafford, one of the best quarterbacks in the last 10 years. I don't know if he's going to be playing with any sort of spite towards the Lions. I don't think there's any sort of bad blood there. I think he genuinely loved his time in Detroit, and I think it was a mutual parting of ways for sure. If anyone should be spiteful, I would think it's Jared Goff. Jared Goff took the Rams to a Super Bowl, lost that Super Bowl to the greatest of all time. Not by much, but definitely because the Rams offense could not score for shit. And then the Rams, a couple years later, just like, you're just not good enough, man. Let's go get Matt Stafford. And just kind of shipped him off in Detroit, and I think kind of expected him to die. But that's not what happened. Dan Campbell came to town of, lost and broken toys, and fixed them all up and turned them into a legit playoff team, 3 seed in the NFC, hosting the first round against the Los Angeles Rams now. But I just don't think Dan Campbell in particular, as well as I think ultimately it's going to come down to Jared Goff turning the ball over too much. But if it doesn't come down to that, I think the next thing it could come down to, and we've already seen them lose games this way already this season, recently against the Cowboys, for instance. And that's not saying that that call wasn't bullshit, because I agree that the referee should have known which offensive player was checking in eligible. What I'm saying is that after that, they should have kicked the field goal, or they should have kicked the PAT. They should have tied the game up. They should have went to overtime, because going forward from the 7 at that point is ludicrous. Or wherever they were going forward from at that point. So I think Dan Campbell's emotions get the best of him at times, which is a double-edged sword for a head coach. I feel like it gets your players going, and it lets your players know that you're invested, which is really good for them. But then it could also cost your team a game in situations like that, where you kind of let your emotions dictate. You let your emotions dictate your decision making, and all of a sudden you're making a decision that cost your team a game or a chance at the game at the very least. So I think if it's not Jared Goff turning the ball over 3+ times, um, I think it'll be something like Dan Campbell going for it on fourth down on a play he should have kicked the field goal early on or something like that. Which that's another thing he messed up in that Cowboy game. Um, I could see him totally going for it on 4th and 3 at uh, the other team's at the Rams 35 or something like that, trying to get a touchdown before the half, and then end up not getting it, and all of a sudden you miss out on 3 points. They end up losing by 10 or something like that. And you're like, if they would have had those extra 3 points, maybe the second half's different. I don't know, but I think the Rams win this game. Matt Stafford gonna kind of show his experience. Which means they will probably move on, unless the Cowboys lose, to play the Niners in the second round. And man, if the Rams win this game, go on to play the Niners, a division rival, where anything can happen, you may see the Rams make a run towards the NFC Championship and maybe beyond, because then at that point you would expect them to play either the Eagles or Cowboys probably. Maybe the Bucks, but I think the Rams are better than all three of those teams, if we're being honest, or at least they will be by that point if they beat the Niners. So I've got Rams winning this one. I just think Detroit's inexperience at the coaching position, is gonna probably bite them at some point. Again, that or Jared Goff's turnovers. So. Other than that, I think that'll do it for this episode of the most number professional sports channel on YouTube, Swivel Chair Sports. I've been your host, Zach Burkle. Please make sure to like and subscribe. But other than that, deuces.